slaves and Indians were the majority of the society. They were very poor, very exploited, and in many cases killed.
Lamport is also disturbed by the corruption of the ruling Spanish elite. And to his surprise, he also perceives exploitation in the Catholic Church and its enforcer, the Inquisition. The Inquisition is the most feared institution in the Spanish Empire. It imprisons anyone who undermines the teachings of Catholicism in the New World. One churchman who is sent by Olivares to curb the growing sense of rebellion is Bishop Juan Palafox. But after 2 years in Mexico, Lamport's views of the colony have become radically altered. For him, Spanish rule is not the answer.
Disillusioned by the corruption of society in New Spain, he decides that he could do a better job in organizing the colony. And so he sets his mind to revolution.
It's a decision that will lead to Lamport's legend and reads like something out of a Zorro story.
In the first Zorro's book, Zorro leads a rebellion against the oppression of Indians, exactly like Lamport.
For Lamport, planning a revolution leads to a whole new level of duplicity. He set about to draft a proclamation of independence. The draft still survives today. It predates both the French and American revolutions by over a century.
His plan, in a way, seems so ahead of his own time.
The proclamation is the work of an educated man that outlines that slavery will be abolished, that the government will become an elected monarchy, and that Lamport himself will be king. This is his coat of arms, probably designed by himself, with a harp in the lower left corner, symbolizing his Irish heritage. Lamport believed that he could recruit a militia of over 400 men to support him. At about 10:30 p.m. on the 26th of October, 1642, the Inquisition arrest Lamport and throw him into prison.
His accusers have accused him of having a pact with the devil.
But the real reasons of Lamport's arrest are political. He faces a lengthy trial, and it's from the trial record that Riva Palacio writes his popular novel that might have led to the inspiration of the character of Zorro. While in prison, Lamport claims that he is an agent of the King of Spain. But weeks lead into months. None of Lamport's contacts in Madrid or friends in Mexico are able to support him. His only confidant is a new cellmate, Diego Pinto. Secretly, Lamport begins to write denunciations of the reasons for his imprisonment. Incredibly, these documents survive today. In them, Lamport challenges the legality of his imprisonment. He outlines the torture and corruption of the Inquisition. He appears before the inquisitors numerous times, but his pleas of innocence are ignored. After 8 years, he decides to take matters into his own hands. Christmas Day, 1650. The Inquisition prison in Mexico. High walls surround the complex like a fortress. Heavy doors and a locked iron gate blocks the corridor exits. And small cells keep the prisoners confined. With the help of his cellmate, Pinto, Lamport makes his move. They climb through the cell window. Once out of the cell, Lamport and his accomplice appear to ghost their way through a locked iron gate. They then scale the prison walls to freedom, leaving no trace of their actions behind them. That night, Lamport spreads his pamphlets throughout the city and even places a poster on the door of the cathedral. This is a risky venture that further taunts his enemies and is another similarity to the Zorro stories.
Lamport claimed that it was his moral duty to break free from the Inquisition and to expose the corrupt and abusive nature of the inquisitors.
And in doing so, he causes a scandal in the city, the like of which had never been seen before.
To the Inquisition, Lamport's escape appears to confound the laws of God. And this may be the reason behind the spectacular manner of his escape.
It was considered something absolutely impossible.
Such was the shock of Lamport's escape that some believed him to have supernatural powers. But modern investigation sheds new light on the event. Among the hundreds of papers from Lamport's trial is a revealing eyewitness account from Lamport's accomplice, Diego Pinto. To reveal how Lamport really broke out of prison and inspired later writers, escapologist Tom Lyon investigates the secrets of the escape by following the details in Pinto's confession.
The key to an escape as bold and as challenging as this is definitely preparation. What's unique about Lamport's plan to escape is he doesn't only want to get free, but he wants to give the illusion that he's being helped by supernatural forces. So he has to try and cover up every step of the technique he uses.
Lamport's first challenge is to break out of the cell undetected.
He extracted a screw somehow, and he had a sharp point, and he used this to start working away at the frame of the window.
Lamport and Pinto climb through. Then, Lamport is faced with his biggest challenge: a locked iron gate. The gate was probably secured with a padlock.
There is no integral mechanism here that secures it, but it's locked with a padlock around the corner on the other side.
In the legend of the escape, Lamport appears to ghost his way through the door, but the reality could have been much more mundane.
This is a rather intimidating looking lock, but on the inside it's very, very simple. What you have on the inside is a bolt which runs the length of the lock. It engages the shackle down here and is sprung, and that's what holds it in place. So if you don't have the correct key, there are still ways you can release this lock.
Previously, in his cell, Lamport had made a crowbar from an iron bar that was part of his bed.
And with this crowbar, he tried to force open the lock.
Lamport probably refastens the padlock, covering his tracks. But then he is faced with his last hurdle, the prison's exterior walls. Earlier, Lamport had fashioned a ladder from 2 wooden beams taken from his cell.
But when he got to the wall, he found that the ladder wasn't tall enough and he couldn't get over.
And it looked like they were in real trouble until he spotted a stone trough.
He balanced the ladder carefully on the trough, and this enabled him to get over the wall to freedom.
Lamport and Pinto make good their escape.
The following day, word went round town that this supernatural event had occurred at the prison. So his escape was a success in every sense of the word.
Lamport uses his escape to broadcast the corruption at the heart of the Inquisition. But this is a plan that puts his newfound freedom in danger.
The logical thing to do would have been to just run away, hide out, and try not to be found.
But he makes a fatal error. Unlike his cellmate, Pinto, who successfully fled town, Lamport chooses to hide in the city. He is found and arrested just days later. While the fictional hero Zorro continues to evade the authorities, in contrast, Lamport's fate is sealed. After 17 years in prison, the Inquisition finds Lamport guilty of heresy. It prepares his public execution by fire. But some reports say that Lamport is ready to deny the Inquisition one more time.
It appeared that as the flames began to reach him, he managed to somehow leap from the woodpile and hang himself by his iron collar.
But the story of William Lamport lives on. Today, in the center of Mexico City, is a national monument to the heroes of independence that came about 178 years after Lamport first wrote his proclamation. In an alcove is a statue of Guillén de Lombardo, William Lamport. The Irishman who believed in an independence struggle is tied to the stake.
I think that Lamport is the original Zorro because there are many similarities.
There's no doubt that he displayed certain Zorro-like qualities in his defiance and his bravery.
While there may also be other inspirations for Zorro, William Lamport, a rogue Irishman in Mexico, may have a role as the original hero of legend.